Good morning. It's Wednesday, May 16th. Our top story today is that NFI has sent out a notice to its members saying that ABC News is going to run a negative story on the shrimp industry tonight. The ABC reporter involved is the same reporter who made the sort of news frenzy develop over lean, finely textured beef or pink slime. And he's also, of course, worked on some food-related stories about an enzyme that he calls meat glue, which is widely used. Tonight, they're talking about shrimp, and the basis of the story seems to be that ABC took samples of shrimp from half a dozen places or cities around the U.S. and tested them for the presence of antibiotics. And what they found was that they did find some concentrations, we don't know how much or how prevalent, of antibiotics for which the FDA has a zero tolerance for U.S. imports. They're going to try to use this to persuade consumers that eating shrimp is dangerous, and nothing could be farther from the truth. Unfortunately, these kind of sensationalist reports only keep alive the worry and fear that Americans have about so much of their food, and they don't allow them to focus on the real food safety questions. In this case, NFI has a number of points it wants its members to make to their consumers or customers who may have concerns. The first point is that there is a zero tolerance for these antibiotics. If the FDA says a veterinary antibiotic is not allowed into a product in the U.S., that product should not be sold in the U.S. Most companies try to resolve this very strongly through extremely robust testing programs. The second point that NFI makes is that FDA is moving in a direction of doing targeted testing. In other words, the idea is to concentrate on those companies or those countries that have the highest incidence of problems. And it is totally antithetical to food safety to simply say, oh, we should do a higher percentage of sampling, because scientifically this is not going to get the results. The problems in food safety and in shrimp generally exist in very localized and specific areas, and it's the idea of weeding those areas out of the product stream that both the industry and FDA agree on. Finally, the issue of antibiotics in shrimp is not a food safety hazard. This is not something that can make an American consumer ill or sick. It is not something that causes any type of disease. The reason the FDA has a zero tolerance for these antibiotics is because the use of certain types of antibiotics, even though allowed for many years past, tends to weaken the health effect of that antibiotic in human populations. And so the elimination of some of these antibiotics from animal feeds is a public health precaution. So what's happening here is that there's certain areas in which the shrimp shippers may have violated the public health precaution mandated by the FDA. This is not the same as putting some deleterious chemical or substance into a food product. So we hope that this is just going to be part of the drip, drip, drip of continual negative attacks on the food industry and not have any outside impact or outsized impact. In Lexington, Mass., this is John Sackton.